Hello, friends. Welcome to Soul Shift Coaching. I'm David Hale. Thank you for being here. Well, this is part 2 of our Confidence 2-part series. In the first video, I talked about how there are 4 cornerstones, in my opinion, to confidence, how we get it, how we can gain it, how we can build upon it. Well, and in that first video, I spoke about the first 2 aspects, the first 2 cornerstones of confidence, which was reflection and repetition. I strongly suggest you go back and watch that first video to help set the table for the second video on confidence, where I'm going to speak about the third and fourth aspects, cornerstones of confidence. Confidence is critical to when we walk through life. I'm not talking about ego. I'm not talking about pride. I'm not talking about bravado. I'm talking about that sweet combination of both humility and confidence. That's what makes us attractive to people. That's what just opens doors for us, because people are drawn to people that are both humble and confident. Confident in the fact that we know who we are, where we came from, where we want to go, and how we want to get there. But humble enough to know it's not all about us. And so these 4 cornerstones of confidence are to help us calibrate our confidence profile. Many of us have a confidence deficit, or we might be peacocking and have far too much confidence, not grounded in reality, not grounded in what we've actually done. And so what I'm going to speak about today is the third and fourth aspect, cornerstone of confidence. To rattle them off 1 through 4, they all begin with R. I like to keep things simple. Reflection, repetition, resiliency, and relationship. Like I said in the first video, I spoke about reflection and repetition. Please go watch that first video. Now I want to talk about the third and fourth, resiliency and relationship. What do you do when life inevitably kicks you in the gut? Now, obviously, we just don't go from kicking the gut to kicking the gut to kicking the gut. There are those, what I call the days between. We all have, as we scan back over our lives, we all have those significant events, those external shocks to our system that really make up who we are. Because what we do is we attach so much meaning and so many thoughts and so many emotions. We attach them to that event that they stay with us. And if we don't understand how we respond to those significant events, we're not going to understand all of the days between, because it is the days between that make us who we are, because there's far more days between those external shocks. And so what is critical is that we understand our resiliency to life. What do you do? How do you respond? What is your resiliency muscle like? Are you strengthening your resiliency muscles? Because there's no doubt about it. No one gets out of here without getting kicked in the gut. And what we want to do is, in those days between, understand and work on and invest in and enlighten and improve upon how we respond to all of the little dings, if you will, little knocks on the chin, to prepare us for that next external shock. The only thing we can control in this life, my friends, there is one thing and one thing only that we can control, and it is our response to it. And this is that resiliency aspect of confidence. For years, I actually allowed past pains and prior hurts to be the driving force behind my resiliency muscle. Why in the world would I want past pain, prior hurts, negative thoughts, negative commentary by whoever? Why would I allow that? Why would I relinquish control to that to be the main source of my resiliency muscle? Because it's working, it's building. Even when I allowed those negative aspects to be the trainer of my resiliency muscle, I reaped the rewards of it. But they weren't rewards at all. I reaped a harvest, I should say. And that harvest was just more negative thoughts. It was just more of the same. If you like what you got, keep doing what you're doing. If you don't, then let's change. And so that's what I needed to learn how to do. I needed to learn how to build my resiliency muscles by changing my response template. I needed to build my resiliency muscles by changing my response template. Because yes, there is that old adage. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. Yes, but I want to drill down in on that. I want to take a derivative of that. Because it's not only that we get up, it's how we get back up. And what is that driving force? What is that power? What is that driving architect that reassembles us after we get kicked in the gut? Because I humbly suggest to you that it is that power, that it is that force that we allow us to actually reassemble us after life kicks us in the gut. That is what makes us tick. That is the driving force behind who we are and how we got here and what we want to do. If we wake up in the morning, we look around and we don't like where we're at, or maybe if it's just not ideal, or if we just want to be in a different place, well, then we've got to work on our resiliency, because there's no doubt about it. Whether it's as simple as getting in the wrong line at the grocery store, 7 deep, right? Whether it is traffic, whether it is the reality that social media actually takes away from our overall joy, but we just can't seem to get off of it, whether it's the reality of being in a rough patch in our marriage or in a rough patch in our dating season. It's tough. It's tough for younger folk to meet people these days. So whatever these little dings are that we experience through life, we need to learn how to respond to those through this resiliency lens of confidence. So as we gain these little victories, we gain the confidence that results from engaging all of these little dings in the days between, building our confidence up, saying, you know what? I've seen this play out before. I've seen this. It might look different, but it's triggering the same response within me. And I know what I can do. I can not go down this way. I can choose to respond this way. And I can work on my resiliency muscle. And so as we go further and further down that path of the days between, by the time we get to that next external shock, man, we're ready. We've been building those muscles. We're ready to respond. We're ready to respond with an emotional profile that is far sturdier than if we hadn't been working on our resiliency muscles. See, resiliency is not only that you get back up, it's how you get back up, because we want our getting back up to actually be beneficial for us. We don't want to just get back up and be in the exact same spot as we were before we got knocked down. No. We want to use it as a tool. It's all a test, as one of my dear, loving friends say. It's all a test. Big and small, frivolous, or of great magnitude. It's all a test, because we only control one thing in this life, my friends, is our response to it. So let's be intentional on how we work our resiliency model, our resiliency response, our resiliency template. And what I humbly suggest to you is, as you work through that reflection time, and as you highlight those things that you want to repeat through the repetition aspect of confidence, those activities that actually bear fruit and are constructive and are beneficial, as you learn more about yourself through the reflection and the repetition, well, then you will find what your soul really connects to. See, we are all mind, body, and soul, right? Mind, body, and soul. And it is that soul that is the connection to the eternal. And it is that soul, it is that still, small inner voice, when we give it time and space to speak in that morning time, in that quiet time. And we work that quiet time as a discipline into our lives. And we learn better and better and better how to hear from it. It is during those times that still, small inner voice will speak maybe forgiveness. Maybe forgiveness is your driving ethic that you want to have be the lead running point be the lead architect of reassembling you back together after life kicks you in the gut. Maybe forgiveness is the glue. Maybe forgiveness is the concrete. Maybe forgiveness is the rebarb that you use to build yourself back together again. Maybe it's beauty. And I'm not talking pretty. I'm not talking magazine cover. No. I'm talking that beauty that just drops you to your knees inside when you see a sunrise or a sunset. Or maybe when you see a relationship restored. Or maybe it's the innocence of a newborn baby. Maybe it's the majesty of mountains. Maybe it's just the grit of setting a goal and its perseverance. What is that driving ethic, if you will, that driving force that still small inner voice reveals to you, that you want to latch on to? You want to have your thoughts and your subsequent emotions as a result of those thoughts latch on to that driving force for this season, because it will change over time as we go through life. But whether it's forgiveness or beauty or innocence or perseverance, whatever that seed is, that seed, that kernel, that still small inner voice relays to you during that quiet time, have that be the driving force behind the building of your resiliency muscles. And it is that kernel, it is that little nugget of truth that still small inner voice reveals to you, that you weave into your resiliency muscle training. So that's the third cornerstone: reflection, repetition, resiliency. And last but definitely not least is the fourth cornerstone, my friends, and that's relationships. Well, why relationships? Because we're in a constant state of relationship with ourselves. We are mind, body, and spirit all working at the same time. I don't know about you, but in my younger days, my brain would be launching this way, my body would be launching this way, and my soul would sit back and go, you two fight it out. Or at other times, my mind and my body would be together, and my soul would say, I'm putting you two in check. See, we're in constant relationship with ourselves. And what we want to do through this reflection, repetition, and resiliency is we want to learn how to align our mind, body, and soul to the best of our ability. Have them all pulling in one direction. That, my friends, is unity, and that, my friends, is the source of peace. And so in relationships, right, we live in a world today where we're connected 24/7, 365. But many people have never been lonelier. Isn't that ironic? And so what we first need to do is we need to understand that we can find peace and unity and alignment within ourselves. And we do that by working through our confidence through these four cornerstones: our reflection time, repeating those actions that bear fruit and are constructive, building our resiliency muscles, and last but not least, this relationship aspect of confidence. We have to find that confidence within ourselves, that humble confidence within ourselves, before we can even think about going out into the world and trying to build relationships with other people. Because relationships building with other people is one of the true sources of meaning. No man is an island, no man is a rock. I mean, we are born to be in community. And many of us were born into a community, that immediate surroundings, that family that we grew up in, and the people that were supposed to love us the most, they didn't. Or if they did, they had a real weird way of showing it. And so from the very beginning, our resiliency muscles, our response muscles just kind of got out of whack because we just had to do what we needed to do. No, not now. Not now. What we're going to do is we're going to through reflection and repetition and resiliency, we're going to learn how to align our mind, body, and soul so they're all pulling in one direction, so we can be relatively confident the majority of the time, reasonably happy the majority of the time. So when we step out into the world, we don't need someone else to fix us. No, we want to be bringing stuff to that relationship. We want to be a contributor, not a taker. That's what we want. We want to add value and add meat and add meaning to our relationships, and not just be a gimme, gimme, gimme. No, it's a two-way street, my friends. It's a two-way street. And so relationships, we have to get right with ourselves before we even think about going out there. And how does confidence, you think confidence doesn't come to relationships? Have you ever had your knees whacked out? Your confidence whacked out right at the knees in a relationship? Have you ever dealt the blow in a relationship that whacked out the knees of someone and their confidence? Relationships are a critical feeder, builder, sower, planter of our confidence. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we can be relatively right with ourselves. And one of the things that I'll say is that try this. Try standing in front of a mirror for 60 seconds. Not flinching, not blinking, not turning away, but just simply owning what that reflection sends back to you. See, there's real confidence in that because you got to sit there and own it. But if you're on this life path of transformation, there's also real humility with that too, because you can say, yes, I've done this, and yes, I've done that, and I made a lot of progress, but I've got a lot longer way to go. And that's okay. We never graduate from this thing called life. And so the 4 cornerstones: reflection, repetition, resiliency, and relationship. They all need to come together to be those 4 cornerstones of confidence, so we can have that humble confidence with ourselves, and so we can then go out into the world and add value and enjoy it, because we are made to be in community. Thank you, friends, for listening to the 2-part series on how to build confidence. If you'd like to learn more about coaching with me, check out the book coaching link in the description box below. And also navigate to soulshift.org, where you can learn more about me and my coaching approach. If you've liked this content, please give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And subscribe to the channel. That'd be great as well. Also, there's related videos that you can also check out. And I look forward to working with you as we all walk this life's path of transformation, one day at a time, 1 degree at a time. Thank you for being here.